Then non-traditional techniques, Sagaj Bhava Asanas, Surya Namaskar, Yogendra Jiva Moola Sodhana, Yoga Kriyas introduction, Yogendra Jalaneti, Yogendra Kapalapati, Yogendra Kapala Randra Dauti, Yogendra Karna Randra Dauti, Yogendra Trataka, General Rules Pranayamas, General Rules for the Practice of Pranayama. Yogendra Pranayama 2, 3, 4, 9, Bastrika, Brahmari, Sitali, Sitkari, Surya Bedana, Chandra Bedana, Ujjayi. Yogic terms, medical terms, Japa mantras. Shall we start with Japa mantra? Om Asatoma Satkamaya Tamasoma Jyotirkamaya Mrityorma Amurdam Kamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Keep me not in the darkness of ignorance, but lead me towards the light of spiritual knowledge. Keep me not in the fear of death due to the bondage of the mortal world, but lead me towards immortality gained by the knowledge of the immortal self beyond. Peace, peace, peace. A sloga from Brada Naranyaka Bradaranyaka Upanishad. Next. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinaka Sarve Santu Niramaya Sarve Bhadrani Pasyantu Magasittu Dukkha Bhag Bhavet. Om Shanti 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 Ki. So Java mantras concept are completed. So totally how many concepts are there? Let's calculate. 6 plus 4 plus 8 plus 2 plus 7. We'll calculate by the calculator. 6 plus 4 plus 8 plus 2 plus 10, then 2 plus 3 plus 3 plus 2 plus 7 plus 3 plus 4 plus 2 plus 6 plus 12. Yeah, totally 74 concepts are there. We will going to spend up to 10 hours for complete this all. First, read everything very thoroughly for 2 times. Etymology of yoga, origin of yoga word. Maharishi Patanjali is the founder of the formal yoga philosophy, says yoga is concentration. He also defines yoga as yoga chitta vritti nirodha, which means stoppage of fluctuation of mind is yoga. The scholars of Yoga Sutra of Patanjali take this as the authentic meaning of yoga. Maharishi Vyasa, the commentator of Yoga Sutra, also have given one more meaning as Yuj Samadho. It means yoga is samadhi. Samadhi is the highest level of concentration where mind gets completely disassociated with the external world and get established in the highest reality. Nice. Vedanta defines as yoga is union of individual soul with the creator, the universe soul. Kathopanishad says that when all the five senses are suspended, when the mind is at rest, then it is state of yoga. It's called pratyahara also. Bhagavad Gita defines yoga in terms of karma by saying yoga karmasu kausalam. Yoga karmasu kausalam, which means excellence in work is yoga. It also gives second meaning to yoga as samatvam yoga uchyade, which means maintaining the state of mental equilibrium is yoga. Hatha Yoga defines yoga in terms of awakening Kundalini, advancement to Raja Yoga, and the experience of deep meditative absorption of mind as known as Samadhi. History and development of yoga. There is a historical, educational, and traditional background to the study of yoga. Principally, we get to see typical teacher people relationship, which was very essential for imparting this specific education. In olden times, teachers experienced the highest state of consciousness, and students also wanted to reach the same state. The oldest evidence of yogic meditation and asana is found in Mohenjo-daro seal, but the Indian history believes that yoga was practiced 5000 years before Christ is revealed in the earliest writings, the Vedas. Shiva is seen as the first yogi or Adiyogi. Several thousand years ago, on the banks of the lake Kandisarovar in Himalayas, Adiyogi poured his profound knowledge into the legendary Saptarishis or seven sages. In that era, yoga existed in four traditions: Indus Valley civilization, Vedic and Upanishad period, Buddhist and Jain traditions, Darshanas, epic of Mahabharata, Smritis, Puranas, and Ramayana, theistic traditions of Saivas, Vaishnavas, and Tantric traditions. Classical period. Tentatively, the period 500 BC to 800 AD is considered as the classical period of yoga. A very prominent period in the history and development of yoga, Maharishi Patanjali around 250 BC brought order into yoga techniques and compiled the Yoga Sutra, which is less than 200 short sentences and is considered the basics of yoga. In the Yoga Sutra, everything related to man's evolution is mentioned. It is like a grammar book on spirituality. Post classical period. The period AD 800 to 1700 is recognized as the post classical period, wherein the teachings of great acharyas such as Adi Shankaracharya, Ramanujacharya, and Madhavacharya were prominent. The teachings of Suradasa, Tulasidasa, and Purandradasa and Mirabai also represent great contributions during this period, and the great Nath yogis Machendranath, Gorakhnath, Gaurangnath, Swatmaram Suri, Geranda, and Srinivasa both popularized the Hatha Yoga practices during the same period. In addition to the above, we have the Yoga Upanishads, some written by very late, some possibly at the meaning of the Hatha Yoga Pradip. Many Puranas also beginning of the era. Also we have yoga yogi Yoga Vaknyalya and Hatha Yoga Pradipika. Many Puranas also deal with yoga around this time, AD 1000, as to later texts like Geranda Samgita, the commentaries on the Yoga Sutra by Vyasa. Vachaspati Misra, Vijnana Bhiksu, and others appeared just a few hundred years ago. Aims, objective, and misconception about yoga. Okay. Maharishi Patanjali. The main aim of yoga philosophy is to achieve great realization through stoppage of fluctuation of mind by means of studied self-discipline, study of religious scriptures, repetition of mantras, and complete devotion to God. The objective is that while achieving the above aim, one develops better human relations which are bound ultimately to bring about collective peace. The objective is to refrain from being unfavorable teachings and view of any other philosophical systems. In its objective, Sutra seeks only to establish its own tenets and not to refute the view of other system. Sutras are profound in its wisdom, precise in its logic, and are entirely free from any blind faith or bias. On the journey of self realization, one has to inculcate the highest human virtue like ahimsa, satya, and etc. and promote the noblest feelings like amity, compassion, friendliness, honesty, purity, contentment, fortitude, self study, acceptance, and spiritual faith. Swatmarama. The main aim of Hatha Yoga is the awakening of Kundalini, advancement of advancement to Raja Yoga, and the experience of deep meditative absorption known as Samadhi. The objective is while achieving the above aim, one has protect oneself like a house protecting one from the heat of the sun. Hatha Yoga protects its practitioners from the burning heat of the three tapas. The yogi desirous of success should keep the knowledge of Hatha Yoga secret. For it becomes potent by concealing and impotent by exposing. Though the main techniques to achieve this aim are asana, pranayama, and kriyas, and the yamas and niyamas are also to be practiced for advancement in the path. Misconception. It would be mammoth task to list the misconception about yoga, but some are more obvious and require explanation. Many people wrongly assume that yoga requires elasticity and the technical ability of a acrobat. However, it only requires a person to perform asanas to the best of his ability and in the correct spirit, while maintaining maintaining holistic approach to life. Also, many people wrongly believe yoga is religion, and this is a very popular misconception. We can understand when we realize that they associate asana with ritual, philosophy with dogma, acknowledgement of higher reality with theology, and the presence of a teacher or guru with the priesthood of our ministry. It needs to be understood that while yoga is not a religion, it is in conflict with the religious beliefs and it indeed enhances the principal spiritual experience of those who practice it correctly. There is also belief that is a panacea for all forms of illness, whereas no such claims are made by those who teach yoga in the traditional or classical way. In fact, yoga can does help to improve functional ailments but does not correct organic defects. It can assist with the person adjustment living with such defects. Yoga has non-specific purpose in this regard, and any therapeutic aspects are coincidental to the holistic approach. Some people have also come to expect that yogis will exhibit supernormal powers. This has only come about through wrong teaching by some who are more interested in impressing others rather than furthering the real aims of yoga. It should be explained here that any such phenomena are merely coincidental or to individual progress and if pursued as an objective will only serve to restrict growth towards higher knowledge. Another popular misconception is the idea that in order to pursue yogic ideals, we must renounce family and society. This is a naive and quite dangerous notion, reflecting lack of experience, ignorance, and selfishness. Some traditional sects do exist where a person rejects family, life, and society. However, this is not a prerequisite to leading a successful yoga life. Yoga has a very important role to play in the modern family, bringing stability and peaceful coexistence into the home of the householder yogi. Other general misconceptions hold that yoga is achieving control over the hunger or blood circulation, prolonged holding of breath, walking on water, and that is only the meditation. None of these are correct. Yoga is the holistic science which sees an individual as a complete unit of the body, mind, and spirit. All of its techniques contribute to this comprehensive approach. General introduction to Sadhasanas with the reference of Samkhya and Yoga. Okay, so the first chapter described very clearly about the introduction of yoga, where the yoga word coming from, and what is the misconception of yoga, what is the general aim of yoga, and what are the creators talk about yoga. They clearly talk about this only. So, first the etymology of yoga. Yoga, the word yoga coming from the huge word, and Maharishi Patanjali said, Yoga Chitta Vritti Nirodhaga, stopping the fluctuation of mind. Then Yoga Chitta Vritti Nirodhaga, stopping the fluctuation of mind. He also said, Yoga Sama Yuj Samadhayo. Yoga is the highest level of concentration. He told that, like, also, sorry, you use samadhya told by commentator Vyasa. Yoga Chitta Vritti Nirodhaga. Maharishi Patanjali, the Maharishi Vyasa only talked like this. The yoga is samadhi. Kathopanishad says, when all the five senses are suspended, when the mind is at rest, then it's a state of yoga. Bhagavad Gita defines yoga in terms karma by saying yoga karmashu kausalam. Okay. And samatvam yoga uchade. Equanimity at everything. Then Hatha Yoga defines yoga is the terms of awakening the Kundalini yogi and helps to experience the absorption advancement to Raja Yoga. So history told lot of yoga symbols are founded in the Mohenjo-daro seal, Mohenjo-daro drawings. But in India, we practiced the yoga 500 years before also. So they are it's completely lot of in the Himalaya in the Adiyogi poured his technique to the seven Saptarishis, and then lot of Upanishads, the Upanishads period, Vedic and Upanishads period, Buddhist and Jain traditions, that is also happened. The classical period between 500 BC to 800 AD. 500 BC to 800 AD. Then the post-classical period is 800 AD to 1700 AD. Compare the yoga which in this 250 BC years ago, Maharishi Patanjali wrote again about the Patanjali Yoga Sutras under 200 short sentences. It is like a grammar book on spirituality. Post-classical period is 800 AD to 1700 AD. Recognized as the post-classical. In this area, Adi Shankaracharya, Ramanujacharya, Madhavacharya, they are very popular and prominent in this time. And Suradasa, Tulasidasa, Purandaradasa, Mirabai also represents great contributions during this period. And Nada yogis, Machendranath, Goraksnath, Gauringnath, Swatmaram Suri, Gerandanath, Srinivasa Bhatt popularized the Hatha Yoga practices during this same period. In addition to the above, Yoga Upanishads written very late, some possibly at the beginning of era. We have Yogi, Yajnavalkya, Yajnavalkya and Hatha Yoga Pradipika. Many Puranas also deal with yoga around this time. AD 1000. As do later text Geranta Samgita, the commentator Vyasa, Vachaspati Misra and Vijnana Bhikshu and others appeared just a few hundred years ago. Then the aims and objective of yoga. The main aim of yoga philosophy to achieve self-realization through stoppage of the fluctuation of mind by means study self-discipline, study of tapas, swadhyaya, ishvara pranidhanatva. The objective is that while achieving the above aim, one develops better human relations which are bound ultimately to bring about collective peace. The objective is to refrain from being unfavorable of teachings and view of any other philosophical systems. In the journey of self-realization, one has inculcate, the main aim of yoga, Hatha Yoga, is awakening Kundalini energy and advancement to Raja Yoga. Experience deep meditative absorption known as Samadhi. The objective is achieving the above aim. One protects Hatha Yoga, helps to the people who practitioners, protect them from the rain and the all burning three tapas from the house, protect the human from the sun. So yoga desires becomes potent healing. Though the main techniques to achieve aim are asana, pranayama and kiryas, the yamas and niyamas are also practiced for advancement in the path. Lot of misconception also there about yoga. So almost I have read everything. Better I read everything what I till now recognize. Till now reading. First read everything properly. General introduction to Saddasanas. The Indian philosophies are divided into two classes, namely Nastika, who the believers in Vedas are supreme, and Astika. The Nastika philosophies are Buddhist, Jain and Charvaka. Astika philosophies are 6 number. Persons who don't have the beliefness in the Veda, they are called Nastika. Persons who have the belief in Vedas, they are called Astika. Nastika peoples are Buddhist, Jain and Charvaka. The Saddarshanas, they are called Shaktas. Astika philosophies are 6 number. They are called Saddarshana. They are always spoken in pair. That is Samkhya Yoga. Samkhya wrote by Maharishi Kapila. Yoga wrote by Maharishi Patanjali. Nyaya Gautama. Vaisesika Vaisheshika by Nyaya by Gautama, Vaisheshika by Kannada. Then Vedanta by Jaimuni. Sixth one is called Vedanta Mimamsa written by Bhattryana. They are dead. Samkhya system enumerates 25 elements. The two principles, one being Purusha, the consciousness or spirit, and Prakriti, everything that is not conscious. Of this, Purusha is not changeful, and Prakriti is made up of the three gunas and is changeful. Prakriti evolves into Magat, which evolves into Ahamkara. When Sattva predominates, Ahamkara evolves into 10 Indriyas, sense organs, 5 Karmendriyas and 5 Jnanendriyas. When Tamas is predominant, Ahamkara evolves into 5 Tanmatras, which further evolves into the 5 Mahabhutas, Prithvi, Jala, Tejas, Vayu and Akasha. These Panchamahabhutas are the grossest evaluates of Prakriti, and the entire material world is composed of a combination of them. The whole idea is to become aware and realize how temporary and changeful the nature of this world is, and hence it is not worth the pain one goes through the suffers in it. The real self is free from all this, so be the Purusha your, says Sankhya. Yoga is said to be in the technology of achieving liberation spoken of Samkhya. This work by the sage Patanjali is dated 250 BC. Both Samkhya and Yoga have common cosmology, nature and final goal. It is written in the form of sutra, most condensed form of literature, a rare ancient style is of writing. It contains 195 sutras divided into 4 padas. In this most compact form, the sage Patanjali puts forth the essential philosophical ideals and principles of yoga. In its styles its of presentation, it is a marvel. The Yoga Sutras of Patanjali stands alone as the most authoritative book on yoga. The 4 padas are Samadhi Pada, Sadhana Pada, Vibhuti Pada, Kaivalya Pada. Samadhi Pada deals with fundamental nature of mind, Chitta, its prithis and some higher techniques to achieve Siddha Vritti Nirodha. Sadhana Pada initiate discussion on the nature of klesha and the technique called Kriya Yoga overcome klesha. It gives the details about Ashtanga Yoga. Vibhuti Yoga talks about Samadhi as a technique to experience the real knowledge and some supernatural powers achieved on the way, higher goal called Kaivalya. Kaivalya delves deep into philosophical problems related to the study and practice of yoga. It also examines how the state of Kaivalya may be realized and what may arise out of such a state of pure consciousness. The Bhashya of Vyasa is the first available elaboration of the sutra and is accepted by many yoga scholars as the definitive interpretation of Patanjali's Yoga Sutras. Then came many other interpretations of sutras, often tainted with the belief system of the commentator. The commentary of Swami Hariharanath Aranya can be considered purer and more neutral in this regard. Nyaya Sutras by Gautama is also called Akshapada, lays stress on cultivation of yoga logic is as an art. The primary aim of life is described attainment, apavarka and or moksha. Nyaya Sutras do not accept it as a state of positive, unbroken, continuous bliss. It is described more as negation of the total permanent absence of sorrow and suffering. Since the existence of pain and pleasure is always there in a life due to the association of the mind with the senses and the objects, there can never be a state of pure pleasure, pure happiness, or bliss without pain. This is the logic behind the negation doctrine. Man can achieve liberation by gaining tattvajnana of the or the knowledge that the individual is the spirit distinct from body, mind, and all the senses. For this occur, the individual should undergo the threefold sadhana: Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana. Listening to the spiritual instruction about the soul or Atman. Manana means reflecting on the same, establishing that knowledge firmly on the mind. Nididhyasana, meditating on that knowledge. This will destroy mithya jnana, false knowledge. Then the person ceases to be attached by passion and impulses, which would be otherwise led of pain, suffering with sorrow. Vaisheshika. Purva Mimamsa, Vedanta. Four paths of yoga. Karma Yoga. Karma Yoga means selfless service, which works in both physical and mental planes, eliminates ego, yet works on spiritual levels. Kriya Yoga and Karma Yoga are the yogas of action. Kriya means spiritual action, and Kriya Yoga involves the practice of quieting the mind through scriptural study, breathing techniques, mantras, and meditation. In Karma Yoga, the emphasis of selfless action. Karma Yoga transcends concerns of success or failure, egoism, and selfishness. What emerges to surface to all beings, because yoga teaches that every person is part of the divine universal spirit. Karma Yoga encourages the attitude that all beings on this earth should be served with the respect deserving of a divine presence. The follower of Karma Yoga proceeds through daily life attempting to increase virtue and decrease lawlessness in the world. By working for others and the foregoing personal desires and result in greater empathy for an understanding of the world, eventually achieving full understanding or enlightenment. Good. Jnana Yoga. Jnana Yoga is an intellectual path or the path of knowledge and wisdom, inquiring minds. What Jnana Yoga is all about? Yoga, and because all knowledge is hidden within us. Jnana Yoga is yoga's goal. Inquire deeply ourselves through questioning, meditation, and contemplation until we find that knowledge. Jnana Yoga involves a radical shift in perception. Everything you know, think, believe, or feel is questioned temporarily. When everything you know is suddenly untrue, all that remains is you and the universe, which ultimately amounts to the same thing. The goal is wisdom, which is far beyond the mere accumulation of information. It is direct knowledge of the divine through the elimination of all that is merely illusion. Bhakti Yoga. Bhakti Yoga is the devotional path which teaches techniques for the sublimation of desires by chanting the prayer and repetition of mantras. Emotional energy is Bhakti Yoga. Yoga channeled into devotion, guiding anger, hatred, and jealously in a positive direction. Bhakti Yoga places sincere, heartfelt devotion into the divine ahead of all else. Bhakti Yoga involves reverence, devotion, and perpetual remembrance of whatever divine presence is meaningful to you. Unsettled minds, intellectual conscience, and the material world all and fall away as love over and the heart is enveloped in the thoughts of the divine. The heart of Bhakti Yoga's focused is cultivated the primary path to achieve the unity with the divine. Scientific path in Raja Yoga, also known as royal path, emphasizes control of the intellect to attain enlightenment. Meditation, concentration, and breath control are the paramount in Raja Yoga. Hatha Yoga and Raja Yoga work well together. Hatha Yoga is often considered as stepping stone to Raja Yoga because after control of the body is mastered, body control the mind more easily. Yes, the way of life represents something about person's thinking, behavior, attitude, and day-to-day living. This, however, depends on how individual wants his or her life to be. There are people in the world who never decide upon what to be. Principle of and practice of yoga. There are two major points of view concerning the way a life can be lived. One is existential life, which is normally evident in those who just take life as it comes without pushing in any particular direction. The other is the idealistic life, which is evident when the individual wishes to take life as fair as they possibly can. Many people ordinarily live at a vegetative level of existence, mostly according to a materialistic plan, without any higher objective. The question is, which point of view is the choice for you? Do you feel the need to make change in your approach to life? Is the choice for you? Do you feel need from 89th page to 166 pages called about asanas and so meditative poses, meditative asanas, yogendra patmasana, sthita prarthanasana, sukhasana, and vajrasana. These four are yogendra meditative asanas. Then the cultural asanas, it's also have the uh, five types of this. So it's come under first one yoga asanas for upward stretch. It's common asanas for upward stretch. Yogendra parvadasana, yogendra talasana, yogendra yastikasana is all the stretches. It's come under yogendra asanas for upward stretch. Then forward bending yoga poses. Forward bending yoga poses Hastapadasana, Paschimottanasana, Yoga Mudra. Then backward bending yoga poses Bhujangasana, Dhanurvakrasana, Salabhasana. Then sideward bending yoga poses Yogendra Konasana 1, 2. 1 and 2. Yogendra Trikonasana 2. Yogendra Konasana 3. Hereafter only our Guruji will teach. Yogendra Vakrasana. Okay. So, asanas for extremities. Extremities means extended. First one, Ekapadasana, Utkatasana, Bhadrasana, and Matchayasana, throne pose. So, Yogendra Pavana Muktasana, hereafter it will come. Yogendra Adha Sarvangasana, Sarvangasana, we can easily clear. So, each one have name, category, conditioning. Yogendra Shavasana with techniques. Yogendra asanas for inversion. Ardha Sarvangasana, Sarvangasana, Pavana Muktasana. So, unique techniques pioneered by the Yoga Institute. Conditioning, Anitya Bhavana and reflection, Nispanda Bhava, Yogendra Yoni Mudra. These are called unique techniques. Non-traditional techniques, Sagaj Bhava Asanas, Surya Namaskar. Yoga Kriyas, Yogendra Jiva Mula Sodhana, Yogendra Jalaneti, Yogendra Kapalapati, Yogavela Kabala Randara Dauti, Yogendra Karna Randara Dauti, Yogendra Trataka. Pranayamas, Pranayama 1, diaphragm breath, normal sitting and observe the breathing. Pranayama 2, it's called intercostal muscles. Pranayama 3, shoulder touch. Pranayama 4, abdomen breathing. Pranayama 9, Anulom Vilom. Bastrika. Then Brahmari. Sitkari, Surya Vedana, right inhale, left exhale. Chandra Vedana, left inhale, right exhale. Ujjayi, inhale through the nostrils. Okay. ஒன்றுமே இல்லை, இதை ஈஸியாக கிளியர் பண்ணிடலாம்ப்பா, ஒன்றும் பிரச்சனை இல்லைப்பா. Okay, so introduction of Hatha Yoga. Hatha Yoga beginning with the works with Guru Machendranatha and Gorakhanatha. இவங்க ரெண்டு பேர் தான் இதை வந்து எழுதியிருக்காங்க. ஸோ கேரண்ட சம்ஹிதா was written at 17th century, later than after the Hatha Yoga Pradipika, wrote by Geranda, and dialogue between Geranda and Chandakapali. It's talk about Saptanga Yoga, and we see Geranda called his yoga as a Gatsaya Yoga, and it's talk about the detail the Hatha Yoga and Saptanga Yoga. It is a earthen part which needs to be backed and strengthened by the fire and yogic knowledge to become strong to service a right purpose. Both the text are agreement about need, diet, Nadi Shuddhi, and etc. It comprises of 7 chapters, each dealing with one predominant set of techniques, Sabda Sadhanam, and specific goal. It's total இதில் மொத்தம் 7 சாப்டர் இருக்குது. இந்த 7 சாப்டருமே வந்து ஒவ்வொரு ப்ரெடாமினண்ட்டான சாப்டர்ஸ் பற்றி வந்து ப்ரெடாமினண்ட்டான டெக்னிக் பற்றி தெளிவாக வந்து சொல்லுது. கச்ச யோகா, எர்த்தன் பார்ட் need to be strong, backed by fire and yogic practices to be a right purpose. So the next one, Mitakara. and it's called okay Saptanga Yoga. It much more detailed than Hatha Yoga Pradipika, going the number of asanas and kriyas. கம்பேரிட்டிவ்லி ஹதயோக பிரதீபா கம்பேர் பண்ணும்போது இதில் நிறைய டீட்டெயில் இருக்குது. சென் கேரண்ட சங்கீதா கான்செப்ட் ஆஃப் யோகிக் டயட் அக்கார்டிங் டு ஹதயோகா. இட்ஸ் சீன் ஹதயோகா மீன்ஸ் வாட்? Hatha yoga means it gives the practices for it, beginning with Guru Machendranatha and Goraknatha. There are many works related Hatha yoga as pronounced these great nathas. So means Machendrasana Hatha yoga and Goraknath. Oh, there. From the practical point of view, two works are generally studied to know about Hatha Yoga, the Hatha Yoga Pradipika and Kiranda Samgita. Hatha Ratnavali is less known work as compared with above two. It is written by Srinivasa Bhatta Mahayogendra. Oh, Hatha Ratnavali Bhatta is written by who? Hatha Yoga Gorakshnath Machendranath. Goraknath and Machendranath, they are only doing Hatha Ratnavali. This was started by them. Hatha Ratnavali, this was started by them. Then Swami Srinivasa Bhatta Mahayogendra. It is wrote by Srinivasa Bhatta Yogendra. Then Hatha Yoga Pradipika. Hatha Yoga Pradipika is believed to be one of the earliest works on Hatha Yoga. Some scholars believe it to be a work around 15th century. Hatha Yoga Pradipika 15th century. This text is written by Swami Swatmarama. He states that this text is written by Swami Swatmarama. Hatha Yoga Pradipika written by HYP, written by Swami Swatmarama. Then he states that was himself Nada Yogi. He told, okay, following a lineage of Machendranath and Goraknath. Oh, they both only. He derives his authority to talk about the Hatha Yoga from the tradition of great yogis, mentions many Siddhas and Nada Yogis in his work. Thus, Hatha Yoga Pradipika is a very valuable and important text on Hatha Yoga. It is like a manual comparison of various techniques of Hatha Yoga. The Hatha Yoga Pradipika gives practical guidelines, and at the end, we are told that all Hatha practices serve only the attainment of Raja Yoga. All Hatha Yoga practices serve to attainment of, serve only for advancement of Raja Yoga. That's also we can tell. Serve to attain Raja Yoga. So it talk about important yoga concepts: asana, mitakara, satkarma, pranayama, nadi shuddhi, kundalini shakti, samadhi, and adana sundana. Hatha Yoga Pradipika is divided into 4 chapters consisting of 390 verses. Hatha Yoga Pradipika, 15th century. And 390 verses. The first chapter covers the meaning of Hatha Yoga, its connection to Raja Yoga, the tradition of Hatha Yoga, harmful and helpful factors contributing to failure or success, role of yoga, asana, and mitakara. The second covers, first chapter cover about yoga, asana, and mitakara. Second covers two important Hatha Yoga is satkarma and pranayama. The third covers mudras, bandhas, kundalini, and arousal. Finally, the fourth chapter deals with samadhi and explain the various stages and techniques reach such a state. Concept of yogic diet. Super. First chapter talk about Hatha Yoga, its connection to Raja Yoga. It consisting totally 390 verses. First chapter this. Second chapter Satkarma and Pranayama. Third chapter Mudras, Bandhas, and Kundalini arousal. Mudra, Bandha, and Kundalini arousal. And fourth chapters deals with Samadhi, Nadana Sundana. Samadhi techniques to reach such a state. Okay. Care and Mitakara, moderate or balanced diet. Diet plays a very important role in the entire scheme of yoga. So concept of yogic diet. Before that, we will go to begin and cover two asanas at an upward spine stretch. Upward spinal stretches asanas. So first one, Parvadasana. It's done with Aishwarya and Jnana Baba. Asanas for upward stretch. Okay. Parvadasana. So Parvadasana first pose. Parvadasana, and it has 4 variations. First one, it's a cultural pose. It's a cultural pose and mm, it come under upward spinal stretches category and done with 3-6-3 breathing rhythm. So for doing this, first keep the both hands beside the body, sit in sukhasana, take a normal breathing, inhale 2 1, hands up, namaskar mudra, hold, retention 3 4 5 6, exhale 2 3, done with Gyan Bhav. Just a minute. And blood circulation in the vertebral region improves and the efficiency of the nerves coming out of the vertebrae is improved. Unnatural curvature of the spine and minor displacements of the vertebrae are corrected. Corrects minor postural defects of the spine and straightens the muscles of the back. Stretches all the abdominal and pelvic muscles, loosen the hips. Good, give the good internal organs massage and helps to reduce flatty and flabby abdomen. Blood circulation in the vertebral region improves the efficiency of the nerves coming out of the vertebrae is improved. So it helps to correct the alignment of the spine and minor curvature and helps to reduce the stomach, give the soothe and massage to the internal organs and yeah, active the inactive waste zone. These are the benefits. Blood circulation to the vertebral region improves the and okay. So four variation one, totally four asanas are there. Variation one is side bend first. It will done with inhale 1 2 3, exhale come up, inhale 1 2, exhale come up. It's done with Aishwarya Bhava. It side bend poses done with, just a minute. Okay, side bend poses done with Aishwarya Bhava. Then enter the interlace the fingers or keep the palms joined. C2 sequence of the steps. Okay. First sit in the cultural pose. Starting position C1, above raise the hands. Gently inhale in 3 seconds and bend the right. Inhale, let the spine arch sideways with no movements below the waist. Immediately exhaling, return to the center position. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Inhaling in 3 seconds. The limitations: persons who suffering from spinal injury and spinal abnormalities, frozen shoulders and arthritis persons don't do this pose. Hypertension and serious cardiac complaints especially avoid this. Then twisting, exhaling twist your spine. So note this: inhale side bend, exhale twist, inhale, exhale, torsion of the spine. So twisting poses done with Aishwarya Bhav. Jnana Bhava is balancing. So Bhava bended poses done with Vairagya Bhav. So almost we have completed 25 pages something. Balance of poses also there. We can complete on that also. Returning to the starting position, people suffering from spinal injury and spinal abnormalities, almost the 1 hour have completed.